Commander Rian Hale stood on the bridge of the starship Odyssey, his eyes scanning the endless stretches of the Silver Veil Nebula. Streams of violet gas and glimmering asteroid fields stretched for light-years in every direction. Humanity had only recently mastered deep space travel, and the galaxy often underestimated them. Older civilizations considered humans reckless, chaotic, and primitive. But Rian knew better. Humans had heart, ingenuity, and an unshakable will to survive. That was something many older species lacked. "Commander," Lieutenant Meera Patel said from the communications console, her voice calm but curious. "We're picking up a strange energy pulse in the northern sector. It's rhythmic, almost like a song." Rian leaned over, his sharp eyes following the holographic display. The pulse was irregular, but patterned, weaving through the nebula like a thread of light. It wasn't just a signal. It carried something more. Something alive. "Patch it through," Rian said. The hum of the ship adjusted as the signal filtered into the bridge. Unlike human transmissions, it was neither language nor music, yet it seemed to vibrate in a way that almost felt like emotion. Meera frowned. "It's beautiful, Commander. Almost pleading." Rian felt a shiver run down his spine. "Prepare an away team. I want to find the source. This could be the first contact with a life form we haven't seen before." The crew moved quickly. The Odyssey's small scout vessel lowered toward the coordinates, passing through jagged asteroid fields and sparkling gas clouds. The energy pulse led them to a shattered crystalline moon. Large fragments floated silently around it, catching starlight and scattering it in dazzling patterns. As they descended, Rian noticed the structures embedded in the moon. They were crystalline, reflecting every color of the nebula, yet partially destroyed ancient ruins, but alive in their design. The pulse seemed to come from inside the largest fragment, a collapsed tower that hummed faintly. "Stay alert," Rian warned. "We don't know what we're dealing with." The away team entered the ruins. Each step echoed in the hollow crystalline halls. Light patterns danced along the walls like living shadows. And then, they saw her. Aerith floated above a fractured platform, her body shimmering with a soft inner light. She was humanoid, but unlike any human. Her skin was crystalline, translucent, and glowing with delicate patterns that shifted with her emotions. Her eyes were deep pools of opalescent color, reflecting everything around her. She looked fragile, yet there was a strange elegance, a strength in her stillness. The team froze. Rian felt a mix of awe and caution. "Approach slowly," he whispered. Aerith's eyes snapped to him, and the patterns on her skin flared like lightning across a dark sky. She emitted a soft hum that resonated in the minds of the humans. It wasn't threatening, but it was cautious, wary, and deeply sad. Rian raised his hands, showing he meant no harm. "We're not here to hurt you. My name is Rian Hale. We want to help." For a long moment, she studied him. Her light shifted in subtle waves, almost as if she was analyzing his thoughts and emotions. Finally, she spoke, not in words, but through a vibration that echoed in the minds of the humans. "Why do you care?" Rian stepped closer. "Because I believe life deserves protection, no matter where it comes from. You are not alone." The patterns on her skin stuttered, and a single tear-like crystal slid down her cheek. It reflected the nebula behind her, fracturing the colors into tiny shards. She looked away, hesitant. Her kind had vanished, wiped out by a cosmic catastrophe known as the Void Thread. She was the last Lyriel, a species capable of expressing emotions through light. And the last thing she expected was trust. Meera whispered. "Commander, she's beautiful." "Yes," Rian said softly. "But beauty isn't what matters right now. Safety does." Carefully, Rian and his team approached, working to stabilize the damaged platform. The ruins were unstable, and every step could collapse entire sections of the tower. He gestured toward the injured alien. "We need to move you, Aerith. You'll be safe with us." Her name spoken aloud seemed to resonate with her. She twitched slightly, the glowing patterns on her skin flickering in surprise. She hesitated, unsure if she could trust these humans. Yet something in Rian's eyes, steady and honest, convinced her. Slowly, carefully, she floated down to Rian's outstretched hands. The touch was electric. Not physically, but emotionally. The humans could feel warmth, empathy, and something ineffable in her presence. Aerith's light flared briefly, then dimmed, exhausted from both fear and relief. "Let's get you out of here," Rian said, carefully. They carried her back to the scout ship, navigating through floating crystal shards. Every step was tense, but the alien remained surprisingly still, as though she could sense their intentions. Once aboard the Odyssey, medical droids and environmental systems scanned her. "She's badly dehydrated and her energy patterns are irregular," the ship's AI reported. "Emotional shock is also evident. Recommend immediate stabilization." Rian nodded. "Do it." He stayed nearby, watching as the soft hum of the ship enveloped her. Slowly, Aerith's light began to settle, her shifting patterns becoming smoother. She was curious about these humans, yet cautious, measuring every gesture. Rian sat near her, maintaining a gentle presence. Her light pulsed faintly, almost like a heartbeat. And then she responded not with words, but a subtle glow that filled the room with warmth. The humans could feel the emotion. Gratitude. "Why me?" she finally asked in her mind, her thoughts intermingling with Rian's. "Why do you care about me, a stranger?" Rian smiled gently. "Because sometimes, helping another soul is the truest measure of humanity, and because you deserve it." Aerith's patterns shifted rapidly, signaling a new emotion. Cautious hope. She had survived countless horrors alone, and yet, here was a human who did not fear her difference, who saw her value. Over the next hours, Rian introduced her to basic human concepts. Food, rest, simple conversation. She attempted to mimic words, at first awkwardly, but her intelligence and curiosity were astounding. In return, she allowed him glimpses of her own world through light patterns, memories of Lyriel cities, of crystal forests, and radiant energy flows, now gone forever. Rian felt a pang of sorrow for her loss. Humans had suffered much too. Yet this complete extinction of a species was alien even to them. He gently reached out and touched her hand. The connection was instantaneous, a bridge between human thought and Lyriel emotion. She recoiled slightly at first, but then allowed it, letting the warmth of human empathy reach her in a way she hadn't felt in centuries. The pulse that had drawn them here had faded, but something more profound had begun. A bond. Not of romance, not yet, but of trust. Aerith had tested humanity, and found, perhaps against her instincts, that they were capable of something remarkable. Patience, empathy, courage. Night fell across the ship. Though stars shimmered eternally outside the viewport, Rian sat near Aerith, listening as she hummed a soft, glowing song of memory. The rest of the crew had retired, giving them privacy. For the first time since her people's fall, she felt a faint stir of safety. Rian watched her, silently promising that humanity would protect her, not because of duty, but because some connections transcended species. Some bonds were simply right. And in that quiet moment, in the middle of a silent nebula, two worlds, one human, one alien, had met in a fragile but undeniable harmony. Somewhere deep in the ruins of the Silver Veil, the echo of the Lyriel's last hope now floated freely among the stars. And in that echo, the beginning of a new legend was born. The Odyssey glided silently through the Silver Veil nebula, its hull reflecting the violet and silver gases that swirled around it. Aerith had spent the night in the medical bay, resting while the ship's systems analyzed her strange, crystalline body. Commander Rian Hale sat nearby, watching the monitors but mostly watching her. There was a quiet understanding growing between them, a recognition that their fates were now linked. The next morning, Aerith awoke with a faint pulse of light dancing across her skin. It was softer than before, but there was an intelligence in it, a curiosity that seemed almost human. She sat up slowly, her luminous eyes scanning the room. "Good morning," Rian said gently. "How are you feeling?" Aerith tilted her head, attempting words. "Fine," she said, her voice a soft hum. "Still foreign but improving." Rian smiled. "That's good. I think you've rested enough for us to continue our journey." She nodded, though her attention was drawn to the viewport. The nebula stretched endlessly, mysterious and dangerous. Somewhere out there, remnants of her past haunted the shadows, fragments of her species, the Lyriel, and the memory of the void thread that had destroyed them. Rian approached her cautiously. "I want to understand your world," he said. "If you are willing, of course." Aerith's light flickered in thought. She had spent decades in solitude, afraid that other beings would exploit her knowledge. Yet there was something different about humans. They were messy, emotional, unpredictable, and still, they were brave. Slowly, she began to share. "The Lyriel? We were a civilization of light and resonance," she said, her voice now more confident. "Our cities were made of crystal. We communicated through patterns of light. Every thought, every feeling could be seen and shared. And then, the void thread came." The word sent a chill through Rian. The void thread? Aerith's patterns dimmed. "A parasite that consumes energy and emotion. It destroyed my people. Almost everything. I survived, but I was alone." Rian felt a pang of sorrow. Humanity had lost much, but the extinction of a species was a weight even humans rarely carried. Aerith's light pulsed faintly. "You understand," she seemed to say, though the words were silent. Humans could not see her language, but they could feel the meaning, the raw emotion. Over the next days, Rian and Aerith worked to bridge their worlds. He taught her words, gestures, and concepts, while she introduced him to the subtle art of Lyriel resonance. They spent hours on the observation deck, mapping the nebula, and practicing small interactions that tested their growing bond. One evening, as the twin suns of a nearby star system set, casting long shadows across the deck, Aerith's patterns shifted rapidly. She seemed distressed, her light flickering like a storm. "What is it?" Rian asked, moving closer. "The void thread." "It is near," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I can feel its presence." Rian's heart tightened. The ship's sensors confirmed it. A dark, energy-consuming phenomenon was spreading across the sector, feeding on dying stars and unstable planets. If left unchecked, it could devour entire systems. "How close?" Rian asked. "Too close," she admitted. "I thought I could outrun it, but it is faster than I imagined." Rian's jaw tightened. Humanity was young, but it had a courage that surprised even the oldest species. "We will stop it," he said. "Not because it's easy, but because it threatens life. All life." Aerith's light shifted, faint admiration coloring her patterns. Humans, she realized, were unpredictable in the best way. They did not cower in fear. They acted. Over the next few days, the crew prepared the Odyssey for confrontation. Rian studied the void thread, with Aerith's guidance. She explained that somewhere within her memories was a resonance key, a way to disrupt the parasite's energy patterns. But it required perfect alignment with another being's emotional frequency. "Someone like me?" she asked cautiously. "Not exactly," Rian said. "It has to be someone whose mind and heart can harmonize with yours. And I think I might be able to do it. Aerith's patterns stuttered, uncertainty flashing across her crystalline form. Humans were different from her species. They were chaotic, emotional, but somehow, in Rian, she sensed a rhythm that matched her own. It is risky, she warned. If we fail, it could destroy us. Rian nodded. I know. But doing nothing is worse. And I trust you. Aerith's light pulsed, a mixture of fear and tentative trust. She had survived alone for so long, and yet here was a human offering partnership, offering not just help, but trust, without conditions. As they approached the heart of the void thread's spread, Aerith began to sense its effect on the nebula. Stars dimmed unnaturally, their energy sapped. Asteroids lost their reflective glow. Even the nebula's violet gases seemed thinner, as though the parasite was sucking the life from the very cosmos. Rian guided the ship carefully. We'll need to get close enough for you to use your resonance key, he explained. But not so close that the void thread can harm the ship. Aerith's light shimmered, her patterns intricate and tense. Rian placed a reassuring hand near her crystalline arm. Then I will not falter, he said simply. We face this together. The human crew watched, awed, as the bond between Rian and Aerith grew. The light that flowed across her body seemed brighter in his presence, and the connection was more than emotional. It was almost tangible, an invisible bridge linking two entirely different species. During quiet moments aboard the ship, they shared small joys. Aerith tried human food, marveling at its textures. She laughed softly at Rian's clumsy attempts to teach her human idioms. And late at night, they would talk about stars, about life, and about hope. Rian learned about the Lyriel, their culture, their cities of crystal that sang when sunlight touched them. Aerith learned about humanity's struggles, its wars and triumphs, and the spirit that allowed them to rise again and again. Each realized that the other's species carried strengths, the galaxy often overlooked, but always, the void thread loomed. Its shadow followed them, a constant reminder that time was short. Aerith's connection to it was instinctive. She could feel its hunger, a pulse that drained her inner light and brought back memories of loss. One day, while scanning a nearby star system, Aerith's light flared in alarm. It is moving faster than before. We may not have time. Rian studied the readings. The void thread's core was approaching a critical point, a dense cluster of dying stars whose collapse could ripple across several systems. We have to act now, he said. Aerith nodded. Then it must be done. The resonance key must be used. Together. She reached for him, her crystalline hand meeting his. The moment their skin, or in her case, crystal touched, a wave of energy surged through them. Rian felt her memories, her fears, and her hopes intertwine with his own thoughts. He saw the beauty of her world, the tragedy of her loss, and the determination to survive that burned deep within her. Aerith sensed his courage, his hope, and his human stubbornness to never yield to fear. She realized then that this human, this one soul, could match her resonance. He was not perfect, not like her people, but he carried something she had long forgotten, unyielding heart. We will do this together, Rian said, his voice calm and steady. She let out a soft, melodic hum of agreement. For the first time in decades, she did not feel alone. As the Odyssey approached the edge of the void thread's shadow, the crew braced themselves. The nebula darkened unnaturally, and the stars themselves seemed to dim under the parasite's influence. Yet Rian and Aerith stood together, their bond creating a faint glow that pushed back the darkness. Rian looked at her, his eyes steady. No matter what happens, we face this as one. Aerith's light surged brighter than ever before, echoing the strength she drew from him, and in that moment, A human soul and an alien light began the first step toward a force capable of challenging the darkness. The void thread would not know what hit it. The Odyssey drifted at the edge of the void thread's core, a swirling mass of darkness that consumed light and life alike. Stars around it dimmed, and the nebula seemed to recoil from the parasite's hunger. The crew moved with tense efficiency, each human aware that the fate of multiple star systems rested in their hands. Commander Rian Hale stood beside Aerith, her crystalline hand resting lightly against his. Together, they were the bridge between two species, the hope against a darkness that had destroyed countless worlds. "Are you ready?" Rian asked, carrying the weight of responsibility without fear. Aerith's luminous eyes met his. "I am," she said softly. The patterns on her skin glimmered with nervous energy. Fear mingled with determination. She had survived alone for centuries, yet now she was choosing to trust, to merge her very being with another. Rian nodded. "Then we do this together." The crew moved the ship closer to the void thread's core. Energy readings spiked violently, alarms blaring as the parasite pulsed, sensing the intrusion. Dark tendrils of energy reached out like fingers, hungry for life. Aerith recoiled slightly, but Rian steadied her with a gentle touch. "Focus on me," he said. "We will harmonize, and we will succeed." She inhaled, her crystalline form glowing faintly, then leaned toward him. Their hands clasped, and the resonance began. At first, it was tentative flickers of light, meeting the warmth of human emotion. But as they focused, a brilliant connection formed, linking mind to mind, heart to heart. Rian felt her memories, her sorrow, her fear of the void thread, and her hope that one day, the universe might be kind again. In return, Aerith felt his courage, his unwavering will to protect life, and his unshakable belief in humanity's potential. The void thread pulsed violently, sensing the bond, its dark energy thrashing as if aware of the threat. The crew struggled to maintain the ship's position. But Rian and Aerith were no longer just individuals. They were a single force, merging alien light with human soul. "Now," Aerith whispered, her voice trembling but strong, "we release it together. O reset with parter. Every 20. O reset into the world." Rian nodded. Together, their joined consciousness projected a wave of energy unlike anything the galaxy had seen. It was not purely physical, it was a force of harmony, a blend of human determination and Lyriel resonance. The void thread screamed in reaction, dark tendrils recoiling, twisting in pain and confusion. Light and hope clashed with darkness and consumption. For a moment, it seemed as if they might fail. The void thread surged toward them, its core threatening to engulf the Odyssey. But Rian held steady, channeling his courage into the connection. Aerith mirrored him, her light flaring with brilliance, singing in patterns only humans could feel through the mind. The resonance reached a peak. A bright, harmonic pulse shot from Aerith's form, flowing through Rian and out into the darkness of the void thread. The parasite writhed, twisted, and then shattered. Fragments of energy exploded outward, harmlessly dispersing into the nebula. The stars, once dimmed, regained their glow. The gas clouds shimmered in renewed colors. The void thread was gone. The universe seemed to breathe again. Aerith collapsed to her knees, exhausted. Rian caught her, steadying her. She shivered, her light dim but steady. "You did it," he said softly. "We did it." She looked up at him, her patterns flickering in awe and disbelief. "Together," she conveyed silently, "we survived. Together." The crew erupted in quiet celebration, not with loud cheers, but with the profound relief of witnessing something incredible. Humanity's courage had saved an alien species' knowledge, and perhaps an entire sector of the galaxy. In the following days, Aerith recovered, slowly regaining her strength. She walked the corridors of the Odyssey, exploring the ship and observing humans with fascination. She marveled at their teamwork, their compassion, and their ingenuity. Every action, every small gesture, reflected a species that had been underestimated for too long. Rian watched her, a quiet smile on his face. "You've come a long way," he said one evening as they stood on the observation deck, stars glimmering around them. Aerith's light pulsed softly. "So have you," she replied. She paused, her gaze locking onto his. "You are different. Not like any human I expected. You completed something in me I thought lost forever." Rian tilted his head, sensing her meaning. "I didn't do it alone," he said. "You trusted me. That's what made this possible." Her patterns shimmered, delicate waves of emotion rippling across her crystalline form. "You understood me when no one else could." For the first time in centuries, Aerith felt whole, not just alive, but complete. And she realized that it was not her people, her memories, or even her power that gave her strength. It was the connection with a human soul that mirrored her own determination and hope. The rest of the crew noticed subtle changes in her. She laughed more freely, shared more openly, and even experimented with human food and customs. She found joy in small things, a human smile, the warmth of sunlight reflected in the ship's viewport, and the gentle humor that Rian often displayed. Rian, in turn, found a new perspective on humanity. He saw their potential not just in exploration or technology, but in compassion, in the courage to act for others, and in the strength to face what seemed impossible. Aerith reminded him that humans were capable of beauty and wonder beyond measure. One quiet evening, Aerith's light glimmered softly as she approached Rian. "I wish to stay," she said simply, her patterns radiating warmth. "Not as a guest, but as a partner in your journey. Humanity has become my home." Rian's eyes met hers. He felt the depth of her sincerity, the honesty in her choice. "Then you are welcome," he said, "and together, we will explore what the galaxy has yet to show us." Aerith's crystalline form pulsed with happiness, a soft symphony of light that filled the observation deck. She had trusted humanity, and they had shown her worth, courage, and companionship. And in that trust, she had found something she never thought possible: completion. The Silver Veil Nebula stretched endlessly around them, full of mysteries and dangers. But for the first time, Rian and Aerith faced it with more than courage, they faced it together. A human soul and an alien light, bound by trust, respect, and shared purpose, ready to shape the universe's story in ways neither could have done alone. As the Odyssey moved onward into the stars, the crew carried with them a renewed sense of wonder. Humanity's place in the galaxy was no longer defined by youth or recklessness. It was defined by courage, heart, and the unshakable will to protect life, no matter how alien. And somewhere in the endless void, a luminous presence glowed brightly beside a human who had proved that love, friendship, and understanding could transcend worlds. The galaxy had seen many things, but never before had it witnessed such a union. A human soul, completing the life of an alien being, and in doing so, proving the enduring strength of humanity. The adventure was far from over, but a legend had begun. Aerith, the last of the Lyriel, and Rian Hale, the human explorer, had forged a bond that would echo across star systems. Together, they would meet whatever the galaxy offered, confident that courage, empathy, and unity could overcome even the greatest darkness. And so, under the endless stars of the Silver Veil Nebula, a human soul and an alien light shone brighter than ever together, completing each other and heralding a new age where humanity's courage would forever be remembered.